and volunteers in our schools next year.
Mr. Speaker. Fletcher Tabuteau.
Normally, Mr. Speaker, I relish the opportunity to stand up and rebut the contributions from the opposition members, but I think the contributions today speak quite more eloquently about the lack of contribution, the lack of depth, the lack of understanding about what this government is about and what we're actually achieving than it does about the thought that they've put into their own contributions. And so perhaps it's apt, sir, to speak about Alice in Wonderland. I look into the eyes of the opposition members over there and I can see right now how they must feel like Alice as she tumbled down that hole, that rabbit hole. They must feel it themselves as they tumble deeper and deeper down that hole. Now, the problem here, and this is all about timing, Mr. Speaker, this is all about timing, but the problem here is I think the leader of the opposition went down that hole first. Right, so he's gone down, he's got nothing to hold on to, and clearly there's no support base for him amongst his own membership, party membership, let alone his caucus. And so there he is. The other problem he's got going down that hole, Mr. Speaker, is that there seems to be a leak filling up the hole. And so now he's there, he's got his head just above water, but what I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, is as his caucus colleagues come tumbling down, many of them will choose to deliberately land on top of him. Why will they do that? Well, they don't want to drown. They don't want to go under the water themselves. And so the leader will take the damage and be pushed under the water as the leak continues to flood. So, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to talk about what it is that this government has done, what this side of the House stands for since coming into government from the last election. This is a group of people, sir, a group of ministers and MPs who came in with their eyes wide open. We were not sitting there like the opposition was at the time, denying a housing crisis, for example. We were not sitting there denying that our hospitals were not safe and sound for the people who were using them. So the opposition still don't really seem to understand that this is the real world. And on this side of the House, everyone wants to get on with the job. And so while this government protects New Zealand home ownership, for example, whilst we build new homes, whilst we celebrate, I think it's tomorrow, 1,000 graduating police officers, whilst this government works to save Auckland from stifling and suffocating under its own weight. And I use the example of Aucklanders spending a month in traffic every year, and then $1 billion of lost productivity every year in Auckland. That's what they were happy to continue with on that side of the House, but we can't let that continue. Whilst we work with our provinces and rural communities to grow and thrive in the regions and to grow their dignities again, whilst this government works to make our hospitals safe and sound again and to do the same in our schools and our classrooms, and as Minister Davis alluded to in his contribution, to build infrastructure for the ever-growing and amazing tourism market, the opposition sits on the other side of the House, moans and cries, and does nothing but use illogical arguments to say that we're not doing our job. Mr. Brownlee looks at me confused. Mr. Brownlee is an example. Just today, in his contribution in the House, he spoke about the lack or the undermining of the rental market and how no one's going to want to own a rental property because of what this government's doing. And in the same breath, he talks about how rents are going to go up. Well, how's that not good for owners of rental properties? Come on, make an argument and stick to it. The other side of the House, the Leader of Opposition and the Finance spokesperson can't agree whether it's the opposition's good work from the previous government with the economy now, or if it's this government's one. They're just contradictory statements all the time, and I can't believe I've already got out of time. This is a government that's doing great work, sir, and I'm incredibly proud to be part of it.
Andrew Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I've got to differ from my colleague